Good evening. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Newsdesk at 8 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us. Shortly, we'll be giving you detailed versions of stories that have been making headlines throughout the day. But remember, you can also utilize our social media platforms to catch up on some of these stories, as well as our website. That's diamondtvzambia.com. For now, the headlines are coming up shortly. Munali nickel mine faces shutdown as 900 workers go unpaid amid $7 million debt crisis. Private health sector faces collapse as NEMA fails to pay hundreds of millions in outstanding claims. Lungu family takes urgent appeal to South Africa's Constitutional Court over state funeral order. I'll be right back with more of the details. Hello there. Thank you for joining us once again on tonight's edition of the News Desk. To present it, my name is Justin Molenga. Disclosed severe operational challenges that have forced the suspension of some mining activities. So far, nearly 900 workers have gone over 2 months without salaries, and mine officials have confirmed that shareholders UK-based CE Mining and CDC Jingtong of China have failed to provide the promised funding by the 31st of July this year. A key contractor, Epiroc, has withdrawn its equipment over unpaid debts, crippling underground production and reducing operational flexibility. The company has since requested emergency funding, but major contractors, including Zesco and several suppliers, have been affected, leading to the plant shutting down twice. And Southern Province Minister Credo Nanjua has expressed concern, questioning why a newer nickel mine in Northwestern Province is thriving under similar conditions, while Mabiza has struggled under a $7 million debt burden.
Province Minister Credo Nanjua this morning visited Mabiza nickel mine in Mazabuka district of Southern Province to better understand the reasons behind its recent closure. During the visit, union representatives highlighted numerous challenges now facing affected workers.
The position that we are seeking as the union, the members, they want to know, when are we going to get paid? Secondly, when is the mine going to start the operations? It is now when we have just heard that other stakeholders have been told that by the 1st of September, but as the union, that information has not yet been communicated to us.
Mazabuka District Commissioner also expressed concern over the situation, stating that many employees have been left stranded.
Some of them are almost being evicted from their homes because they are not able to pay rent. Salaries are not there. And apparently, we have information that on Thursday, Honorable Minister, we had some, I'm sure it's worth mentioning, that we had some bailiffs who came. That was for the second time.
Yes.
I'm sure all those details, Honorable Minister, in their submission, they will be able to.
Suppliers' debt is just getting bigger, and we can't service that. And what happened, we started running out of consumables, underground explosives, plants, chemicals. So that was the situation that led now on 18th June to suspend operations. So all the equipment underground, from loaders, trucks, drilling machines, all come from Epiroc. The lithium, cobalt, these battery metals prices, we don't know, for some reason they've been going down because of the Indonesian market. The Indonesian nickel market, the Chinese have bought that, and they're producing it at a very low price.
So we take it that 1st September operations resumes?
That's the assumption made in those letters, sir.
And Minister Nanjua acknowledged the gravity of the situation and committed to finding a way forward for the workers and the mine.
What is the way forward? But what is the challenge is, could be that those who are running the mine are failing because they don't have money. That's what we are beginning to establish, that it's an issue of finance. materialize. That's why, as provincial administration now, we are concerned and we want to hear more, especially when your studios are back.
Approximately 470 permanent workers and 350 contract workers have been affected. The mine reportedly shut down due to a drop in nickel prices, the withdrawal of equipment by the main contractor, and overall financial constraints. The minister has since rescheduled a conclusive meeting to next week, where possible solutions are expected to be discussed. Helga Chibwe, Damo News, Mazabuka District in Southern Province.
In more news, the dispute over the barrier site of former President Edgar Lungu has once again stalled, pending the outcome of an application filed by the Lungu family before the South African Constitutional Court. This follows the Pretoria High Court's decision to adjourn sine die the family's application for leave to appeal against its earlier judgment on the 8th of August, which ordered the repatriation of Mr. Lungu's body to Zambia for a state funeral. Now, the Latin term sine die means the matter has been postponed indefinitely with no date set for resumption. In their urgent application before the Constitutional Court, the Lungu family is seeking to overturn the High Court's decision, arguing that they should not be compelled to proceed with a state funeral. In an affidavit, former First Lady Esther Lungu maintained that no one should be forced to bury a loved one in accordance with the dictates of the state. Mr. Lungu, who died on the 5th of June, is yet to be laid to rest, as the debate over his final resting place remains unresolved.
Former President Edgar Lungu's burial case has been adjourned indefinitely in the Pretoria High Court. This follows the Lungu family's application for leave to appeal the decision of the Pretoria High Court that ordered the repatriation of Mr. Lungu's body in Zambia for a state funeral. The Lungu family and the Zambian government have failed to resolve the matter relating to his repatriation, and this has caused the Pretoria High Court to adjourn the matter sine die, pending an application that the Lungu family has filed before the Constitutional Court of South Africa.
Has since filed an application for leave for direct access in the Constitutional Court, and on those bases the parties have agreed to allow the Constitutional Court process to unfold, and in the circumstances we have agreed that by agreement between the parties that this application for leave to appeal be postponed sine die, and there's no mention insofar as the question of cost is concerned.
Former First Lady Esther Lungu, in an affidavit that has been filed before the Constitutional Court, has argued that no one should be compelled to bury their loved one according to the dictate of the state. On August 8, 2025, the Zambian government won a legal battle against the Lungu family, securing an order for Mr. Lungu's body to be handed over to the Zambian authorities for a state funeral following his death on June 5, 2025. Satisfied with the ruling, the family applied for leave to appeal, which effectively halted the repatriation process. This means the order cannot be implemented until the appeal is concluded.
Making the following order. By agreement, the application for leave to appeal is postponed sine die, no order as to costs. Court adjourns.
At the center of the argument is on whether President Nchelenge should preside over the funeral of his predecessor, Edgar Lungu. The South African Constitutional Court will make a decision. Darius Jonya, Damo News.
Now, in some unfortunate news, Southern Province Health Director Dr. Kalista Skayunga has confirmed that one of the premature twins initially certified dead at Mazabuka General Hospital was mistakenly pronounced dead before eventually passing away. Dr. Kayunga told Diamond News that according to hospital management, the twins were born at less than 6 months gestation, weighing just 300 and 400 grams respectively. He has emphasized that regardless of gestational age, there is a standard time frame that must be observed observed to ensure death has truly occurred. Dr. Kayunga has since expressed concern over the conduct of medical personnel on duty, stating that they were too quick to declare both infants dead without following adequate time for proper confirmation. He has further confirmed that the surviving twin tragically passed away last evening.
In a tragic update, the second born of the twins born at Mazabuka General Hospital, previously mispronounced dead by the hospital staff, has also passed away. The family, already mourning the burial of the first baby just yesterday, has been left devastated by the latest loss. One of the family members alleges negligence on the part of the hospital, particularly on how both babies were incorrectly declared dead by the nurse on duty shortly after delivery.
Nebantu baleza kuboneka mwana oyu kumi bwaliko inompeyo yakamunjira kambo watumbu wa 555 so kuti aboneke kuti mwana ulayoya twahomubona kuma 10 ninthu arutola kuti tuyobole kokumujola munzira tibabike mu malaiti kwina chakahungidwe wahungidwe bokalapukeni kaubawa konse kumaulu akalanze so kuboneka bumi bwakaliko inompeyo yakamunjira 6 hours injakaketebo.
Confirming the incident, Provincial Health Director Dr. Kalistas Kayunga admitted there was negligence in how the situation was handled.
What is coming out is Iliada Tiagasika 10.
Okay.
We were actually around 5 to 6 months. Scan said 23 weeks, which is less than 6 months. So I think it was a miscarriage. One already 300 grams, or 400 grams, which is very small. So I think the mistake the nurse made was normally those things when they come out and they see that they're a bit viable, you keep them for some time. So that is the feedback I've gotten, but I'm awaiting the official report for determine. I've demanded for it, but it was a twin pregnancy. But I think the mistake was they should have explained to the family very well instead of doing things without explaining to the family. Because normally when I want to baby, even a full-term baby, we don't rush into certifying. We keep them. Part is easy for you to certify, but even if I want to, we always encourage people to keep the body. Then you wind the end. Then you try to check again. That's when you can comfortably say, okay, mana was in your
The baby has since been laid to rest next to the other one who was buried yesterday. Helga Chibwe, Damo News, Mazabuka District in Southern Province.
From the health sector, the Healthcare Federation of Zambia has disclosed that the National Health Insurance Management Authority, NEMA, owes the private sector hundreds of millions of kwacha for various services provided to the public, that is, the private health care sector. HFZ President Dr. Nchelenge says the private health sector is on the verge of collapse due to non-payment of claims, some dating as far back as 2024. Dr. Desai added that during engagement efforts, they were informed that NEMA prioritizes payments to the public sector and whatever remains is allocated to the private sector. He further stated that while private providers are not being paid, they are still expected to meet all tax obligations, which he describes as unfair. Additionally, the Federation has raised concern about accusations of overbilling, saying such claims are untrue and do not reflect the reality on ground.
What began as a well-intended program to improve access to quality healthcare for all Zambians is now facing serious challenges. The National Health Insurance Management Authority, NEMA, was established to bridge the gap between public healthcare needs and service delivery, and in many ways, it has done just that. But today, that vision is under strain. The Healthcare Federation of Zambia has raised alarm bells, revealing that NEMA owes the private health sector hundreds of millions of kwacha for services already rendered to the public. Some of these unpaid claims reportedly date as far back as 2024.
That obviously brings a lot of problems to the private healthcare providers. First and foremost, let's look at the statutory obligations that each business must make. We have to pay NAPSA, we have to pay the ZRA for various taxes. They are not waiting for us to say, look, we have not yet been paid. Can we clear this as we get paid? We have to pay on time. That alone has put a lot of stress on private healthcare providers. If we don't pay, like any other business, we are charged, we are fined. And those fines, again, just increase the bills that we need to clear. To service each and every client that comes through a facility, even if it's just a dental clinic or a pharmacy itself, we require stocks. That the private sector is literally on its knees at present because of all these issues.
To make matters worse, private providers have faced accusations of overbilling, claims the Federation strongly denies, calling them both unfair and unfounded. Dr. Desai further noted that NEMA reportedly prioritizes the public sector in its payments, only dispersing leftover funds to private institutions, a system the Federation says is unsustainable and unjust. The Federation is now calling on President Hakainde Hichilema to urgently intervene.
As a Federation, we make an earnest appeal to His Excellency the President of this country that this is a dire situation, and we request that he takes care and looks at what is going on seriously. We are ready as a Federation to come and explain to him in detail and his team what is happening. We are requesting that our payments are made in a timely manner so that we can continue to provide the services that we do. We wish that this tariff structure can be looked at so that it is cost reflective for business. We also request there is equal treatment of both private and public sector healthcare providers. Finally, we want consultation on everything that affects us.
NEMA is yet to respond to the concerns raised. As the nation looks to build a resilient health system, the call is clear. Transparency, fairness, and timely support must be at the heart of it. Victoria Kayeye Yambani, Diamond News.
Now, from the world of politics, renowned economist and former international finance executive Ms. Dolika Banda, niece to former Republican President Rupiah Banda, has declared her intention to contest the 2026 presidential election. Announcing her decision, Ms. Banda says Zambia needs serious, selfless and sober leadership to restore trust in governance, strengthen institutions and rebuild the economy. Ms. Banda has pledged to leverage her global financial experience to ensure mining revenues benefit schools and hospitals, climate finance reaches farmers, and young entrepreneurs are supported. She says she will soon unveil a team of honest and competent Zambians to join her campaign, stressing that her leadership will prioritize institutions, ideas, and intergenerational justice over personality-driven politics. That the first break of the news desk at 8 p.m. Coming up shortly is a business news update, but for now I leave you with the weather update thereafter, the Diamond Insight.
This is your Diamond Insight of the Mazabuka twin tragedy, a wake-up call for health system reforms. The heartbreaking case of the premature twins at Mazabuka General Hospital has left the nation shocked. One twin, initially certified dead at birth, was later discovered to have been mistakenly pronounced dead while burial arrangements were being made, only to pass away shortly after. The tragedy exposes serious gaps in medical vigilance, hospital oversight and broader health system preparedness. Southern Province Health Director Dr. Callistus Kayunga has emphasized that regardless of gestational age, there are strict protocols for confirming death. The apparent haste in declaring both infants dead highlights a lapse in judgment that should never occur. Premature infants, especially those born at less than 6 months gestation and weighing just 300 or 400 grams, require meticulous monitoring and care. Anything less is a recipe for tragedy. Moreover, it is ethically indefensible to declare someone dead when they are still showing signs of life, no matter how weak or fragile those signs may be. Such actions violate both medical standards and moral duty of care owed to patients. This incident also underscores the importance of proper antenatal care. Regular checkups, timely monitoring, and interventions during pregnancy can help identify risks early, potentially preventing premature births and improving survival outcomes for vulnerable infants. Mothers in rural communities must have access to quality antenatal services, yet many still face barriers to care, including distance, cost, and understaffed facilities. Equally pressing is the need for greater investment in rural hospitals. Adequate equipment, trained personnel, and emergency response systems are essential to save lives in critical cases like these. Health facilities in rural areas should not be left under-resourced, as this ultimately costs lives. Mazabuka General Hospital must conduct a full review of this incident and hold responsible staff accountable. But beyond accountability, this strategy should spur nationwide reform, improved antenatal care, better resourced rural hospitals, and a culture of diligence and compassion amongst medical personnel. The lives lost in Mazabuka must not be in vain. They must ignite meaningful change.
Business News is brought to you by Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank. Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank, making tomorrow possible.
Good evening. You're watching the Diamond News Desk at 8. My name is Tapiwa Ngoma. Let me run you through the business stories that are making headlines this evening. We will be reviewing Nchelenge sunflower farmers record for poor yields. And later on, we're looking at SMEAZ calling for restoration of 48% legal lending cap. After that, we'll see the Kwacha's performance against the US dollar, and we'll close it all off by taking a look at the commodity prices. Stay tuned. Let's get straight to business with our first story this evening, where over 60% of sunflower farmers in Nchelenge have recorded poor yields in the 2024-2025 farming season, attributed the reduced production of unfavorable climatic conditions. Chinunka sunflower outgrower founder Gordon Chinunka says this has resulted in most farmers harvesting a class 3 crop. And Nchelenge District Agriculture Coordinator Frank Sindazi has confirmed the drop in production, explaining that while sunflower farming is still new in the district, new farmers have managed to reap meaningful benefits compared to last season. Meanwhile, Nanshinka farmer Sunday Bwaria says sunflower has been a profitable crop for his household, as he has been able to process cooking oil for both sale and home use.
Over 500 farmers in Nchelenge have ventured into sunflower production. However, the crop's performance has declined from 75 to 60% in the 2024-2025 farming season. The slump has been attributed to the unexpected drought.
Those who planted early, that's from November to December, most of them didn't harvest well, because immediately they planted, they only had once average. Then off it went for weeks and weeks. Almost the whole December had no rain, proper rain. Rains came in January. So we had the dry spells. These people lost seed. One lost cash to plant or to cultivate.
Frank Sindazi, Nchelenge District Agriculture Coordinator, confirms the drop in production.
And locally, they're actually appreciating it because of the cooking oil that they're extracting, which is chemical free and ready to be used by them. Rains actually affected all the crops actually.
Sande Bwalia, a sunflower farmer from Nashinga, shares his experience. His call is similar to other farmers who want access to market.
Nani mwimu sunflower, challenge tu watatu kubalirwa kulima wansi. Umishtisha ila kushuka. Rweli ingine inaende tuwasa mpangisa salad pia. Kwati kila bako karaka kwati mwala panga kirole chitikati na alafu. Barasanga kindi bala kujunga mofilia mwaka nali mimi number 1 yali kinisa. Number 1 mwaka hata yali.
Ifwe palubalirwesu twale tulakwanisha kutinga walima tutontonganya kwe bati we mwino letwala kuchigayo bakupangira saladi.
And some prospective farmers are urging the Department of Agriculture to provide training to farmers on sunflower production and supply seeds.
Education bantu chintu chonse chirakwaya kafundisha owa kwebo kuti ubulimi tulime fine furegesha sana kulikwe iyi balati ne yimu atulanga kwa mabalati ya sunflower bantu muri ngafunya saladi ngine ya kuti itaipya wino limbira kule ya popoma.
Cecilia Kayampro, Coastal Diamond News, Nchelenge Province.
The Small and Medium Enterprise Association of Zambia has called for the revocation of the Money Lenders Act, Chapter 398 of the laws of Zambia, which prescribes a maximum lending rate of 48% per annum. Organization President Diamon Siulapwa says this is in order to protect citizens from rampant exploitation. He further told Diamond News that most money lending institutions are charging exorbitant interest rates of up to 100%, leading many small businesses to default, a situation he has tragically pushed some entrepreneurs to commit suicide. And Consumer Unity and Trust Society CUTS Consumer Welfare Officer Victor Sikombe has called on government to strengthen the legal and regulatory framework governing money lending in the country.
Access to credit is a lifeline for many small and medium enterprises in Zambia, providing the capital needed to stock up goods, expand operations, and create jobs. But with the suspension of the Money Lenders Act number 398 of the laws of Zambia, the SMEs Association of Zambia says the cost of borrowing has become unbearable. The law previously capped lending rates at 48% per annum, equivalent to 4% per month. SMESZ chairperson Diamond Siulapwa says without this protection, many money lenders are now charging interest rates as high as 100%, leaving entrepreneurs struggling to repay.
The biggest challenge that most of these SMEs and people are having to expand their businesses is the interest rate that are being applied to the loans. They are quite very high. We have microfinancing companies that are charging as much as over 50%, interest, others up to 100%. Over a period of probably some of them 2 months, 3 months, and 6 months. We have situations where companies have borrowed 100,000 and they've paid back 200,000. They still owe 100,000. So it's becoming very unbearable for SMEs to borrow. So it's not practical to borrow if somebody is going to charge you 100% interest, unless you are making 200% profit. But what kind of business makes 200% profit? So this is where the biggest challenge is coming in.
You find that if they go to the formal lending institutions like the banks, you find that the paperwork, what is required for them to borrow is way too beyond what they can afford. So they are forced to go to the black market, to borrow through the black market. And this is where they are now being abused. You find they are borrowing at very high interest rates that they can't afford. And even when they borrow, you find that government takes long to pay. If what they are borrowing for is to deal with the government, they take so long to pay them. So you find those challenges bring a lot of problems. Some of them get abused, as they are being abused now, and we have a lot of complaints. If you see in our groups, our WhatsApp, or emails, a lot of people are complaining, they are being harassed. We have even in some extreme cases where people have committed suicide.
Consumer Unity and Trust Society Consumer Welfare Officer Victor Sikombe has called on government to strengthen the legal and regulatory framework governing money lending.
The first step the government must take is to strengthen the legal and regulatory frameworks that govern money lending. This includes reviewing and updating the Money Lenders Act to cover modern and informal lending practices, including digital loans. All money lenders should be required to register and obtain licenses, and the government should set legal caps on interest rates to prevent excessive exploitation. Further, lenders should clearly disclose the total cost of borrowing, repayment schedules, and penalties before loans are issued. Regulation alone is insufficient without effective enforcement. The government should establish a dedicated regulatory body to monitor and supervise money lenders.
The Small and Medium Enterprise Association of Zambia has since delivered formal demand letters to the Bank of Zambia and major mobile money network operators calling for urgent intervention and a review of the law. Rachel Mumba for Diamond News.
We start more in business as we now see what the kwacha has traded. The money markets this evening will show the kwacha's performance against the USD. Let's take a closer look here. The USD was buying in kwacha terms at 23 kwacha 16 ngwe, and it was selling at 23 kwacha 54 ngwe as of close of business today, 18th August 2025. We're seeing the kwacha's performance here being still at around 23 kwacha per US dollar on average, and this is as of mid this month. Let's see how the month will close off as we give you more details on the business news. Those are your money markets. Let's now shift our attention and see what the construction commodity prices look. Your construction commodity prices this evening brought to you by the Zambia National Building Society. Our first item on review is a walkie-talkie. Now, this DOPTT heavy-duty radio for construction will cost you somewhere around 2,760 kwacha. Our next item this evening is a cart, and this cart is going to cost you somewhere around 2,485 kwacha. These construction commodities are brought to you by the Zambia National Building Society. And that concludes our business with the construction. Let's take a look now at what the commodity prices do look like, both food and non-food. The commodity prices to close off our business news this evening, starting with our food items. A kg of beef still at 110 kwacha on average. 1 kg of sugar, nothing more than 37 kwacha. A tray of eggs, nothing more than 115 kwacha, while 5 liters of cooking oil will start at 260 kwacha. Your standard 25 kg bag of breakfast mini meal is going at an average price of about 300 kwacha, depending on where you're buying that from. Your non-food items look a little something like this. We start off with 10 rolls of toilet paper as per usual, 85 kwacha on average. A bar of multi-purpose soap, starting price of 35 kwacha. 1.5 kg of washing powder, between 115 and 125 kwacha. Let's close it off with liquid hand wash that will cost you 45 kwacha on average. These altogether are your commodity prices. Those are what your commodity prices look like. What did I miss? Okay, we have everything here as far as business is concerned, so we close it off here. But I will be back in just a few minutes, and this time around I'll be giving you what your construction news is looking like. So stay tuned, and I'll see you very soon.
Business News was brought to you by Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank. Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank, making tomorrow possible.
Welcome back. It is time for some construction news, and this is what to expect. Kashishi residents raise concern over water crisis as diarrhea cases rise. Let's get straight into the details. Residents of Kashishi in Nchelenge township of Lopula province have expressed concern over a rise in diarrhea cases among children, which they attribute to the consumption of unsafe water. In an interview with Diamond TV, Betty Musonda explains that the absence of a health facility in the area makes it difficult to address such health challenges effectively. And residents have further noted that fetching water from a nearby stream not only exposes them to contamination, but also poses challenges due to the long distance from the village, especially with the growing population. More details from my colleague Kalombe Kapambwe in this report.
Growing population, the village on the outskirts of Nchelenge district continues to face various challenges. For many residents who have lived here for years, access to clean and safe drinking water remains out of reach, even after walking long distances. At their only water source, some residents wash their feet, while others fetch water for drinking or cooking, highlighting the multiple demands placed on this single stream. This is the main reason as to why diarrhea cases here are never ending, because the water we consume is contaminated. It is not safe for human consumption. As if the water challenge is not enough, the area also lacks a health post to respond to rising cases of diarrhea among children. We've been making appeals to relevant authorities and nothing has actually come forth. In most cases, we are administering traditional medicine to our children just to address the diarrhea cases when the pain is persistent. Efforts to get a comment from the area councillor by press time are proved futile. However, the local authority has acknowledged the challenges and disclosed plans to address them.
Community engagement has been there. That's why, if you have noticed, we have given a contractor to do an embankment across the swampy place that leads to that same place, meaning that the ward councillor or the area councillor is concerned about the people that are staying in that area, and he's making his first move to have a road or a footpath that people can use, maybe to send children to school, or maybe to also allow women access health services from a clinic which is nearby.
Residents of Nchelenge now question whether constituency development funds are reaching areas like Kashishi, as basic needs like water and health services remain unmet. Kalombe Kapambwe, Damo News.
That's our construction news. We take another break. We have more news updates coming up. Welcome back. Let's conclude the news desk with this news item. Opposition Patriotic Front Secretary General Rafo Nakachinda has been found with a case to answer by the Lusaka Magistrate Court in a matter relating to alleged hate speech against the people of Wengwa. The prosecution has alleged that in 2023, Mr. Nakachinda made remarks that ridiculed and showed contempt for the Tonga-speaking people of Wengwa in Southern Province, criticizing voters for electing a person from the area to State House. Now, when the matter came up for the ruling before Magistrate Ida Piri, the court held that testimony from prosecution witnesses was sufficient to require Mr. Nakachinda to open his defense. Magistrate Piri has set the 19th of September as a day for Mr. Nakachinda to present evidence in his favor.
The opposition Patriotic Front faction Secretary General Rafael Nakachinda has now been placed on defense by the Lusaka Magistrate Court over alleged hate speech remarks he pleaded not guilty to against the people of Wengwa. The prosecution in this matter alleges that Mr. Nakachinda's comments made in May 2023 showed hatred, ridicule, or contempt toward the Tonga-speaking people from Wengwa in Southern Province on account of their tribe and place of origin. The alleged utterances criticized voters for electing a person from Wengwa to State House. When the matter came up before Magistrate Ida Piri, the court ruled that the accused has been found with a case to answer, stating that the testimony presented by prosecution witnesses on the record is sufficient to require Mr. Nakachinda to open his defense. Magistrate Piri has since set September 19, 2025 as the date for Mr. Nakachinda to open his defense and present evidence in his favor. In another matter, Nkana Member of Parliament Pinwo Mpundu has appeared before the Lusaka Magistrate Court in a matter he is charged with the offense of seditious practices. The state in this matter alleges that the accused on December 29, 2024 in Lusaka urged his fellow politicians to buy guns in readiness to defend themselves, remarks said to incite violence or any offense prejudicial to public order or likely to disturb the public peace. When the matter came up before court, Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chiwili allocated the matter to Court 9 before Magistrate Webster Milombe, where the charge was explained. The court read the charge, but there was no consent to take plea yet from the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP. Among notable political figures present to offer solidarity were Kafisa Member of Parliament Christopher Kangombe and Peer Secretary General Rafael Nakachinda, who addressed the press later.
The job we have is to continue advocating for unity among all political players in the opposition, but also the main opposition political party, Patriotic Front. We want to continue to quietly mobilize and make sure that we are united and a strong force that will be able to wage a decent and meaningful political contest in 2020.
Best Jerry, reporting for Diamond News.
That is all we had for you this evening on the news desk at 8 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us. Coming up shortly at 21:15 hours is Diamond Live. My name is Justin Mulenga. Good evening.